Hola, ¿cómo están hoy? How are you today? I hope you're having un excelente día and gracias for tuning into la Escuelita de Español. Bienvenidos. Can you imagine having a conversation to get to know someone in Spanish without being able to ask any questions? How would you even ask about someone's interests? It would be quite difficult, don't you think? The answer to that question, fortunately, is not too complicated. Asking questions in Spanish is quite similar to asking questions in English. It's really just a matter of learning the vocabulary. Let's start by looking at the actual question mark and also some details that I think you might find pretty interesting. So this is what a question mark looks like in the Spanish language. The upside down question mark is used at the beginning of all questions. Think of it like the brackets. We open the bracket, then we close the bracket. Similarly, in Spanish, when we're asking a question, we open a bracket, then we close the bracket at the end of the question. Now that you know all about the upside down question mark, we'll move on to learning the different types of questions in Español. However, because this topic is a bit long, it'll be a two-part lesson. So today, we will begin with the yes or no questions. These are questions that will get you the simpler answer yes or no, or even I don't know. They are also the easiest question forms. To ask a yes or no question in Spanish, you simply put question marks around a normal sentence. Is that easy? Take a look at these examples. Juan habla inglés. I am saying Juan speaks English. Let's repeat it together. Juan habla inglés. Now, if I want to ask the question, does Juan speak English? You see the difference in the English? We say Juan speaks English, and the question is, does Juan speak English? In Spanish, however, the statement is Juan habla inglés. To turn it into a question, we do not add words or change words. We simply put the question marks at the beginning and at the end of the statement. So it will be, Juan habla inglés. So as I said, the difference is the question marks. And of course, the sound that you make, the question sound. Let's try that again. The statement says, Juan habla inglés. Say that. Juan habla inglés. The question sounds like this. Juan habla inglés. Did you notice the difference in the sounds? Juan habla inglés. Please note that in Spanish, you do not need to use words like do, does, or will, because auxiliary verbs do not exist. So there is no does Juan speak English? It's like saying Juan speaks English. The important part is your intonation, the sound that you make when asking the questions. You have to rise at the end of the question, so it doesn't sound like you're just affirming or saying yes, Juan speaks English. Here's another example. Rosario toma café, which means Rosario drinks coffee. Repeat it with me. Rosario toma café. So if you would wish to ask, does Rosario drink coffee? Again, the Spanish says just add the question marks at the beginning and at the end and make the question sound when asking the question. So the statement says, Rosario toma café. And the question is, ¿Rosario toma café? Repitan, ¿Rosario toma café? Okay, we'll do one more example. La casa es grande. La casa es grande. This means the house is big. Now let's say you want to ask the question. In English, you would say, is the house big? However, in Spanish, we do not have auxiliary verbs, so what we use is just the question marks at the beginning and at the end of the statement and make the intonation, the question sound. Let's try it. So the statement says, la casa es grande. The question says, la casa es grande. La casa es grande. Ask the question. La casa es grande. Very good. When you speak Spanish, you can actually differentiate yes or no questions from regular sentences by the rising intonation. Again, this means that the pitch of your voice rises as you finish the question. Awesome work repeating all the vocabulary. With your new knowledge, you guys are now going to convert statements into questions and we'll say them out loud. So the statement is, ¿Tú hablas español? Tú hablas español, which means you speak English. How would you go about asking the question? In English, it would be, do you speak Spanish? In Spanish, however, it would be, ¿Tú hablas español? ¿Tú hablas español? Although I can't hear you, I am going to trust that you guys are making the pitch of your voice rise as you finish the question. Let's try another. The statement is, ella llegará hoy. Repeat that. Ella llegará hoy, which means she will arrive today. In English, the question would sound, will she arrive today? In Spanish, the question should be, ella llegará hoy. Ella llegará hoy. So as you can see, it's the same as the statement, but we added the question sound. Ella llegará hoy. Muy bien. Now remember, these are yes or no questions. So in order to answer them, we have to know the translation for yes and no. Let's try that. How do you say yes in Spanish? Sí. And how do you say no? This is a difficult one. No is no. It's that easy. So we have sí for yes, and we have no for no. So try that. Say sí. Sí. No. No. Now, let's talk about the word yes in Spanish, which is sí. So we have S-I. But did you notice there is a tilde, an accent above the letter I? Now, there are two types of sí in Spanish. You have the sí, which means yes, that has the accent above the I. And you have the sí without the accent, which means if. Again, the sí with the accent means yes, and the sí without the accent means if. Ahora vamos a responder las preguntas. Now, let's answer the questions. ¿Juan habla inglés? ¿Juan habla inglés? Does Juan speak English? Ask the question with me. ¿Juan habla inglés? Let's say we want to say yes, Juan speaks English. In Spanish, we simply add the yes word, which is sí, and say the sentence or the statement. So it'll be, sí, Juan habla inglés. Again, ¿Juan habla inglés? Sí, Juan habla inglés. Try it. ¿Juan habla inglés? Sí, Juan habla inglés. Very good. Now, let's say we want to say no. Juan does not speak English, or Juan doesn't speak English. The Spanish is also very simple. We say, no, Juan no habla inglés. Again, no, Juan no habla inglés. So answer the question for me. ¿Juan habla inglés? No, Juan no habla inglés. Let's try another. ¿Rosario toma café? ¿Rosario toma café? Does Rosario drink coffee? If we want to say yes, Rosario drinks coffee, we should say, sí, Rosario toma café. If we want to say no, Rosario doesn't drink coffee, or Rosario does not drink coffee, we say, no, Rosario no toma café. Let's try that one more time. ¿Rosario toma café? Sí, Rosario toma café. No, Rosario no toma café. We'll do one more. Repeat the question. La casa es grande. La casa es grande. Is the house big? We want to say, yes, the house is big. How do you say that? Sí, la casa es grande. Now we want to say, no, the house is not big, or the house isn't big. In Spanish, we say, no, la casa no es grande. Let's try that one more time. Repeat the question. La casa es grande. Sí, la casa es grande. No, la casa no es grande. Excelente. Being able to ask and answer questions is an important part of communication. And today you have learned how to ask and answer yes or no questions in Spanish. Remember, just put the question marks around the normal sentence and use the proper intonation to ask a yes or no question. Bueno, chicos, that was it for this first part of the lesson about questions in Spanish. Do tune in again to the Guyana Learning channel for our next episode. Que tengan un lindo día. Have a lovely day. Adiós.